Welcome to News from the Crabby Coffee Shop with your host, Dawn McClain, from the adventures of Bradley and Dawn on My Talk 1071, Garage Logic's newsman, Mr. FYI, John Haidt, and the crabbiest guy in the coffee shop, Kenny Olson.
Well, Kenny's not here today. He's turned into an actual crab. That is what we're doing today, is that his skin is actually turned into the skin or the shell of a crustacean. And
I was half hoping you would take that out of the intro and do your best Kenny impersonation.
Oh, my God. Well, I don't want to do this today. I hate this podcast. I hate doing it.
I thought about calling.
This is the last
Dan
podcast. Yes, I'm calling Dan and telling him I'm canceling this.
Boy, do we have that pegged down to a T, don't we?
Yes. So, yes, it's just Ross and I here, and we're going to, I guess, play some best of clips. I don't know if they all they exist.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, there are a few, but I had to dig really deep to find them. So here's what we're going to do. This is a best of edition of News from the Crabby Coffee Shop. Kenny and John are both out today, so Dawn and Ross, whenever I say your name, I always think I'm from the East Coast. Dawn. We're going to guide you through this edition of the News from the Crabby Coffee Shop. Here's what I have for you, Dawn, and we'll play it in the order picked by Dawn McClain.
Oh, boy.
Work spouses, 8 reasons why being a moron makes you happy. Or should we start with, do men buy cars to overcompensate for something?
Oh, how about the 8 whatever?
Well,
I've already forgotten what it was.
It is. So maybe not true best of material if you've already forgotten. 8 reasons why being a moron makes you a happier person.
Yeah.
Here it is right now from Kenny, John, and Dawn. If you want to catch that entire episode, it's in this very feed of News from the Crabby Coffee Shop.
8 reasons here why thinking you're a moron actually increases your self-awareness and makes you a better person. Are you with me so far?
I don't know.
Assuming things gets a lot of us in trouble. Things that you just assume to be facts are true. I know this has gotten me into a lot of trouble in the past, building things, rebuilding things, working on stuff, and you just assume something to be true, never even questioning yourself, and then you find out much later that not only is that wrong, but you're an idiot. And if you would have thought about this ahead of time, you would have been a lot happier. Part of being a happy moron is stop assuming things and go with the flow.
Oh.
Which leads to number 2. You do that, you'll learn to enjoy life more. You can't control the outcome. You can try, but it's not going to happen.
You can only control the way you feel about it.
You can only control your reaction to something, right? That's one of the rules of Stoicism. If you want to be a Stoic, you've got to let things roll off your back. This ass doesn't matter. Just keep plodding forward. Number 3, you stop taking yourself so seriously.
Oh, boy. This is one that, I have to remind myself of every other day.
Here's the deal. You're a moron.
Yeah.
Why are you so serious? You're just going to be wrong. You're dumb. You know it. We know it. Admit it. Get on with your life, and you'll be a lot happier.
I can go with that.
Ross hasn't said much so far. You notice that? Ross?
I think when you know you're a moron, there's not a lot you can add to this.
I'm just always trying to cover up that I'm not a moron.
Why?
I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
Oh, yeah. Embrace your moronship.
Oh, yeah, I do.
You'll learn.
It makes me
more.
laugh, you know.
When you say to yourself, I already know everything there is to know about this subject, maybe you need to shut up and listen a little bit.
No.
That's what that means.
No, Mr. FYI says no.
If you know everything, why do you need to listen to it?
I just assumed that was a setup for me, Kenny.
I feel like this is so personal. He keeps looking at me and he's like, you're a moron, right? I'm like, God, this is a great way to start Wednesday.
John, if you just admit you don't know everything and you are a moron, you'll be more well-liked. That's number 5.
happened to 4?
And that's the one where you learn way more. You've already discounted that one, so that one just doesn't apply to you, is for what I'm hearing. Number 6, you'll be more realistic. You're more realistic when you know you're a moron. So just admit it, because we all know it. Just admit you're dummy. And number 7, you'll get pleasant surprises.
That's why I'm a pessimist.
And how has that served you?
It really well, because I'm a glass half empty person. And if something goes right, then I'm pleasantly surprised.
Years ago, I heard the term hail that I have stolen and tried to live by, especially in my sports fandom for Kenny. Hail. High aspirations, low expectations.
That's a good one.
It really is a good one.
Especially as a Minnesota sports fan,
it
right?
centers you too, right? You're more even keel.
Yes.
What if? No, I'm sorry, Kenny. I was just going to say Dawn's comment there about the pessimism. There's a great Paul Simon line in a song called "Something So Right." That is, when something goes wrong, I'm the first to admit it, but the last to know.
No. Right.
And when something goes right, it's apt to confuse me. It's likely to lose me. Such an unusual sight. See, there's a pessimist line if ever there was.
It'd be better if you could sing that. Could you sing that for us?
When something goes right. Oh, sorry. I'm the first to admit it.
Ross, what if you have low aspirations and low expectations? Low.
That might actually make you so low
aspirations, low
I don't aspire to anything, and I don't expect anything in return.
I mean, I think that depends on the person, but that could go one of two ways. You could either be incredibly disappointed or incredibly happy. I don't think there would be much middle ground with that way of life. And knowing everything I know about you, Kenny, I know you're incredibly happy. That's why it's very happy. That's why it's news from the Happy Coffee Shop is what we call this show.
Not only am I happy, but I have super, super high self-esteem. I really think I'm the ass.
Well, I've worked with you long enough, Kenny, to know that you're now lying.
Are any of us afraid of being average? Is being average a problem with us at this point anymore in life?
Yeah.
No.
Is it?
I don't want to be average. I want to win.
I always want to be... go ahead.
Do you have the same... In my case, they were what I call delusions of grandeur that I had when I was a teen and 20s. Do you still have those same dreams and aspirations?
Oh, no. If that were the case, I would still be thinking I'm going to be at the Academy Awards this year.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be practical in life and go, I really want a 401k. I need to start saving now, and that's why I'm in radio.
I want to be more than I am. Like, I do want to get better by the day, but as long as I put in the work, I'm comfortable with the results, good or bad.
I want to be recognized with money.
Wow.
Me too.
You want to be paid.
I want to be, I aspire to more, not because of my ego, but because I want more money.
Yeah, you want to be comfortable in life.
But I'm tired of it. Sure. I'm almost 50, and I'm tired of getting, this. I don't know what I need to do except go in and scream and yell at people. And then they're like, get out of here.
Since you brought up age, Dawn, does this change? Because I'm much older than all of you. Does this change as you age? Because there are things I still want to do. And then I say to myself, I'm 66 now. You're 66.
Yeah.
What the hell do you want to do this for?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I want
to be a great guitar player. So I keep practicing. Why?
Oh, because it's fun. It's your hobby. I mean, you enjoy it. You have to enjoy your hobbies. But I mean, I don't think I'll do stand up again. Like, why?
Dawn, I kind of agree with John on this. What are you doing, John? Seriously.
Yeah, I don't know. You've asked me this in real conversation, not just on a show, because I remember years ago I was taking jazz lessons from a very good jazz guitarist, and you kind of looked at me like, to what end? Why would you do that? And I thought, well, that's a good point. I'm old now. I don't I can play guitar, I guess.
And
I don't
so
know.
then you quit and you went to the basement and you found a vein and you tapped into it. And,
Wow.
you lay there for a good 48 hours.
This is why I like this
I
show.
always wear long sleeves.
You know what, Mr. FYI? Sir Paul McCartney is 80 plus now, and he plays his guitar in front of thousands of people at
you're
night.
making John's point. You're making
Yeah, he
John's
started when he
point.
was 19.
For John, this is completely dead end. It's going nowhere.
Going nowhere. I'm not going to be. Well, I might be on stage again.
Yeah,
at some
you
point,
perform.
Yeah.
Well, not really anymore. I mean, I was in bands for so many years, and my goal still ultimately was to be a great jazz guitarist. I'm never going to be playing jazz in front of a bunch of people.
John, well, keep playing and keep practicing, because when I become governor of this great state, you can play at my inauguration party. Okay?
Great.
He's going to be governor.
I think I disagree with Ross, John. I think it's time for you to
quit.
hang it up.
Just
Well,
quit.
why can't you do it, but maybe your expectations change? You know, maybe you just
Well,
want to
that's
be a great
kinda-
player to play, not play in front of hundreds or thousands of people, but you just want to have the satisfaction of knowing you can do it. There is peace to that.
I think, Ross, you should know there's no jazz player in the world that plays in front of
Yeah,
hundreds
okay.
of thousands of people. I'm sorry.
Maybe you could go
No. Hundreds or thousands, not hundreds of thousands.
Maybe you could go to some prisons.
Have you ever
and
been
play
to-
for them? I mean, if you want to perform more.
See,
There you
lower
go.
aspirations, lower expectations.
That's
I'm
right. I'll
telling you.
sing, because I don't plan on being in a band either anymore. But I'll go with you to the prisons, and whatever I do, they're going to love.
There you go.
I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what?
yeah.
You guys can have a traveling show. John shows up to play the music. Dawn shows up to find the ghosts. Because
Oh,
they will
right.
be at the
There
prison.
you
that's
go,
true. Yeah. Yeah.
John, do you find any satisfaction in like hearing a song maybe that you've heard before, you've never heard before, and going, oh, I wonder what's he doing there? I wonder if I could play this. And then sitting down and learning the song and hammering it out and getting it good.
Sure.
There's some satisfaction there.
There's complete satisfaction. I learned a song yesterday, an old song that I'd completely forgotten about. And I was greatly satisfied.
Oh,
Remember the song?
see, this is great.
Remember Venus by Shocking Blue? I just sat down and learned it because I wanted to. And man, I felt great last night because I learned it.
Oh, this is good. I think you should continue this.
You guys wanna
Dawn,
hear it?
is there
Don't listen to
anything?
Kenny.
Is there anything in your life that equates to that, Dawn, or do you just go home an empty shell of a human being and stare at the wall every night and maybe cry a little bit?
I don't cry about it, but I mean, I do. I'd like to be on a ghost hunting show, but I don't. I tried to pursue that for a while, and then it was like, okay. But, now I'm just waiting for whatever to happen. Life, sometimes just happens to you.
But
And I know that's kind of like, well, then work at it. And I'm like, I did. So you come to me.
I think the unfortunate reality of life that we all know is sometimes for other people, whether it's factors you can control or not, sometimes people just get breaks that you don't get.
Absolutely, because of who they know or whose ass they kiss.
Correct. And you just have to learn how to deal with it, which sucks, but it's true.
I'm willing to say that you and John, Dawn and John, how was I going to put this diplomatically? You don't have any aspirations that are worth your time. Because I think in my life, and I know in your life, there's been things where you've decided to do something, and no matter what people have said to you, you go out and do it, and you get it done, right?
Who are you talking to, me or
You and John.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I think your dream of playing jazz in front of an audience, you don't believe in that dream because you're not willing to make the sacrifices to make it happen. And even if you do practice, you know that it's not going to happen. So why am I bothering? And that holds you back.
I can't argue with you. If I thought differently, I would sit with a guitar for 5 hours a day and practice, and I don't. So you're probably right there. Yeah. So I wanted to go the easy way. I just want to be able to do it.
I know when I got into radio as a kid, and then when I got into it again as a semi-mature adult, there was no question about it. This is what I was going to do. And people could, my parents or whoever could say, nah, that won't work out, all they wanted. And it was just going to happen, and I made it happen. And I got the job that I wanted at the station I wanted just because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think unless it's something that motivating, you're not gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, sure. That's how.
I don't know, Dawn, if being a moron has made me happy or if I'm just happy because I am a moron. Your thoughts?
Ooh, that's like a chicken and egg question, isn't it?
What came first, the chicken or the egg? Do you like, Dawn? I did it again.
I do.
Very
I do
East
like
Coast.
Dawn.
Do you like Dawn?
Don.
Do you like calling people a moron as like a derogatory term?
I don't usually use it, only when I'm talking about myself. Like, I don't call people morons.
I've been using putz and schmuck a lot lately.
What?
I don't know. Am I 90? Are those words of older
and are
people?
you from the East Coast? Yeah.
No, but occasionally, as I've told you, I do sound a little bit like that. Hey, very quickly before we get to our next bit that I'm going to let you pick.
Yeah.
Well, I've picked them. You're just picking the order.
Yeah.
You are sitting in the Joe Souchere chair.
Why is it so low?
You-
It's literally the lowest setting that you can get for any chair. It's like a preschool chair.
I don't know.
Does he sit this low?
You would describe him as taller, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's taller than me, I think, and I'm
It's hard
5.
to say. He has a tall personality.
I'm 5'11" and 3/4. I round up to 6 feet.
Okay.
I think Joe's
Yeah.
taller than me.
Okay.
I'd be uncomfortable sitting like that.
I don't get it. I do also want to point out that there is a little sticky notepad here, and it has the word toilet written on it. I don't know why. Toilet underlined.
It's
Explain
almost
that, guys.
It's almost like whoever wrote that down knew we were coming in next to work on our podcast.
Right.
Okay, we have 8 reasons why being a moron makes you happy out of the way. Mm-hmm. Work spouses, or do men buy cars to overcompensate? Where are we going next, Don
I
McLean?
want to do work spouses because from what I remember, Kenny brought this up, but it only applied like to him, and we're all like, yeah. Why are you bringing this up? So let's hear Kenny's thoughts on work spouses.
And here it is right now on News from the Crabby Coffee Shop.
She works from home and hasn't met all of her employees and blah, blah, blah. Misses the camaraderie.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
These are the people that want to go back into work.
Do you guys have a best friend at work?
Yeah,
Oh, at work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that best friend at work also a best friend in your everyday life?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about work best friend. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
John?
I don't have a best. I mean, for instance, the show we're on, I consider all you guys really good friends. Some of my best friends, the 4 of you, but that's, and we get along great. And if we're all in the same building, we're okay. But no, I don't have somebody, I wouldn't say, Kenny, you're my best friend in the world, that kind of thing.
We don't socialize outside of work or work
True.
events.
True.
Very, very seldom do we socialize.
If we ever socialize, it's because of a station event. Well, if we have to go to a restaurant or a bar or whatever to meet people, then we're there socializing with each other. But yeah, we would never, I don't think any of us would ever do that.
Okay, let's put it this way, though.
See?
John, you call up Kenny because you need something, or Kenny, you call up John
Sure.
because you need something. And
I need
say,
animal advice. I always call Kenny.
Dead
Right.
animal removal.
Yep.
or
exactly.
just something fairly significant happened in your life and you need help now. Would any of those people you just mentioned come to your aid right away?
I think every one of them
Yeah.
would.
So I think that
Yeah.
makes them more than just a work friend.
Kenny definitely would. I don't know about John. Kenny's helped me. He gave me a lawnmower. He brought it over with his son once because I didn't have one that worked.
Kenny acts like he
You don't
doesn't like
remember
me,
that?
but I believe he would be at my house in 2 hours if
think
my
that was
water
somebody
heater was
else.
leaking.
Don, that was somebody else.
It absolutely was not somebody else. It was you and your son. When I lived over on Dale off of University.
I've never, no,
Okay. All right.
He doesn't want the
You
praise.
came in your truck. Your son, you made him help get the
Really?
lawnmower out of the back. Yes.
I'll be dipped. Really?
Yeah, really.
See, it might be time to bust Kenny because he acts so hardcore, but he's got probably the softest heart of all the people.
See, that's what I say. But he doesn't
what do you
like,
think of that,
he doesn't
Olson?
like
I just
that.
want to give him a big hug right now.
If any of you requested my help, I wouldn't come down there. That's 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'd tell you to get screwed.
This is when you lived in town.
Yeah. I've never been to your house, John. You've never been to
he's
mine.
never invited you.
You haven't. You're right. Yeah.
Have you guys been to other, like, Dawn, I know you've been to Jason's house.
Yeah.
But have you been to Bradley's house?
No.
Alexis's house?
Yes.
You have? Really?
Yeah, and Donna, for sure. Donna's cabin.
Oh,
yeah.
right, Donna's cabin.
We go up
right.
to there and...
Yeah, do some weird stuff up there that nobody dares ask you what's going on up there.
Okay.
Well, have you been to, I've been to Joe's house. I've been to Rookie's house, old house. You've been to other people's houses on the show.
Yeah, just Matthew and when he lived in St. Paul and
me too.
Joe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same with me. And Reavers has been to my house half a dozen times.
And I've been to Joe's house at the invite of his bride, not him, because he always tells me, don't come over.
Oh, that's nice.
And then when I pull in his driveway, he yells at me to get that POS out of his driveway.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. And it's a nice truck.
Ross and I are going to a Crowded House concert.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go over to his house. And I'm going to pet his cat.
No euphemisms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No.
Emphasis on we're going to go to a Crowded House show if we can find free tickets in this building.
That's true. We're not paying for them. Let's be clear about that.
You know what it seems like to me? The people who are good friends at work and see each other outside of work are single people, right? Because you live lonely, empty lives, and you need each other for some sort of moral support thing. The rest of us, we don't need that. If we want to argue, we just turn to our spouse.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that. I think people get away from their spouses every now and then to hang out with other people.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I also think what's interesting about what you said is this does happen to me. There are a lot of people in this building that I think are great people, and I do love them dearly. But every now and then you'll get like the work happy hour invites or, hey, we're going to go do this. And the first thought in my head is, I was just in the same building with you for 9 or 10 hours today.
Right.
You know, and I feel bad saying that, but you kind of want to have that separation. If I'm going to see that person again, I'd rather actually see them on a Saturday or Sunday than something on a weeknight.
Right.
None of the above. I've got nothing to say to you at work when we have things to talk about. Why would I want to bring that into my private life?
That's not true about me, though. You would want to hang out with me, right?
Maybe.
Kenny!
Okay, I would.
Come on, let's go sit by a campfire. You know?
The real reason I wanted John to bring this story up, and I tweeted about it yesterday, but then I erased the tweet because I didn't get any responses.
Yeah, I've also muted and blocked you as retaliation, so I wouldn't know.
And I really wanted to get some callers on the phone and talk to some listeners about this. Work wives and work husbands. Have you ever had a work wife and or husband? And let's be clear here. By work wife, I don't mean you're making out in the broom closet, okay?
Oh, God,
this is
please.
all just platonic, excuse me.
Yeah.
And you're just friends and you support each other and help each other out at work. Do you have anybody or have you had anybody that you really, really lean on or they lean on you? No.
I mean, at my old job, maybe, like my radio partner.
So
most of them.
They were all on-air people?
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, back when I was on KS95, I shared an office with a young lady that you know. So,
Chris Carlson, I bet.
No.
Oh.
And she actually, it's when Dylan was a little 2 years old, and she would watch him on occasion if I had to go somewhere do something, and we would help each other with our jobs because we both were a little unsure of how our jobs were going. So I would call that, I guess, the closest I've ever had to it.
Yeah, that qualifies, I think. Ross?
Yeah.
Do you talk to girls? Are you scared?
He talks to everyone.
Yeah, sadly, hi or hey, it's Ross. We'll talk to everybody and tell them everything. I would say I have more work therapists than work wives.
Ross, you strike me as somebody who people would maybe lean on you more than you lean on them. Because you strike me as somebody who can't say no to anything.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's actually, we have higher ups in this building that have told me that they worry about that with me, that I say yes to too much stuff.
You do. You're a real sucker when it comes to that.
I am. And actually, Kenny, when you were talking about the work friends, just to back it up a little bit, you actually had a very serious conversation with me a few weeks ago when you were in the building, which you probably don't remember, but I did take that to heart. So you, again, put up this fence about gruff guy, and you were offering me some really good career advice a few weeks ago. So
I gave you, was it along the lines of you really should quit? You've got no future in this business? Was it something like that?
I wouldn't say it was that, but it was more go and swinging. Don't get taken advantage of.
Dawn, since the day I've met you, I've done everything in my power to not rely on you as a work wife.
Why?
Because you've got too much on your plate. You are you're very, very busy, and the fact that you prepare and over-prepare for everything really, really keeps
Except
you
for
busy.
this show.
And,
Don't do anything anymore.
No,
you just
that's
write all of the material.
I don't want to add my baggage to your plate.
Oh,
so I've always
please.
avoided you, and I think I have intentionally always avoided having work wives that are in the programming side of the business. People that are producers and or on the air.
Yeah.
I try not to get too close to those people because for the most part they're insane, and so am I. And I just don't think we need to mix and mingle.
And Dawn, you do a bazillion things, not only for the stations, but in other lines of work that you do.
You do. Yesterday morning, Dawn, I wanted to call you at 8:30 in the morning to talk about some stuff work related, and I decided not to because I know how busy you are.
Oh, I'm probably driving.
Driving, and I don't want to get in the middle of that because I know you're shouting at other drivers and giving them the finger, putting on makeup and pulling cigarette butts out of the ashtray.
I don't smoke. I don't put on makeup anymore because that's not a good idea.
Changing shirts and putting on a different bra with keeping your shirt on,
eating cereal off out the sleeve. Eating cereal while she's driving.
No, I did see someone doing that once in Dallas. It was like, what the hell?
But when I was there, I had two really close, good work wives, and I should define what I consider a work wife is. It's just like having a real wife, whereas you never have sex and all you talk about is your kids. So it's just like a regular marriage. But neither one of them worked in programming, and I kind of relied on them to, well, like you said, be my therapist.
Yeah.
Because they're not in the programming world, so they can actually see from the outside and say, you really need to take advantage of that opportunity, and you need to stop trying to sabotage your career, or you need to sit down and shut up because what you're bitching about is inconsequential. So I kind of use them as stabilizing forces in my life. They don't really... Not that I remember, maybe they helped me out with some stuff work-related. I know Chris Carlson did. She was always helping me with some stupid thing. But the other one was just moral support, basically. And that's all I've considered my work wives to be.
Yeah, that's great.
Did you ever end up in the sack with any of your work husbands?
Oh, my God. Are you asking John? Or?
Yeah, what the hell?
Well, you were single.
The sack.
No. I've got to ask the question.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No. I mean, they're all on-air people and my radio morning show partners. That's a real bad idea. You don't ever do that.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of fun with them. Like, we cracked each other up, and it was like we're always laughing and getting into trouble and doing as little work as possible. Yeah. Just pranking people and, messing around, pretending we're going to go work, like, oh, we're going to go downtown and and interview some people, and then we're like,
Just
I'm
go to
going to
the
go
happy
take a
hour.
nap.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Or that.
early on in my career in the 80s, there might have been some shenanigans, but we were all in our 20s, and I don't know, that's what 20-year-olds are supposed to do, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Get drunk and make mistakes,
Yeah.
and then pay for them for 10 years.
I in my
Sometimes
20s,
longer.
Before I was married and working in radio, I did go out on a date with somebody I worked with, and about an hour into the date, we both looked at each other and went, "This is really dumb. What happens if anything goes on?" Because we worked together, and then we just went, "Okay, this is it. We're not. This is not the date. We'll eat. We'll go home."
Did you get a good snogging in or anything?
Got nothing.
Snogging. Oh, good
Kissing.
word.
Making out, snogging. What?
Yeah, sure.
Or
You did?
No, we didn't. I knew
Oh,
it was snogging
John.
there. Well, no, of course not. We had already decided that we can't get involved.
Well, you could
because
just
it would be dumb.
make
What
out
about-
with her and then
did
go,
you-
yep, that's it.
Give each other a hand, so to speak. No.
Oh, my
No,
Lord.
He's not denying it.
Oh, my God.
We did not. We did not. I deny. I
You didn't do anything
categorically
with her.
deny. That's correct.
What about jealousy on the part of, like, say, your work wife's real husband? Any jealousy there?
My work wife didn't have a husband,
Okay.
and still doesn't, for that matter. So
Yeah.
I still know.
Fair
I mean,
game.
you know who she is. I won't say
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah. Any jealousy with you, Dawn?
I can't remember. I've had so many partners. Had so many like on-air partners.
Oh, okay.
I
Did you
can't-
get that on tape,
let's see.
Ross?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
There's
I don't
also a
think
great
so.
isolated Kenny. I'm going to save too.
I don't think so. I'm just thinking about all of their girlfriends or wives, and they were all my friends also, and really
Right.
cool. Like, there wasn't any reason to be jealous or think. But, sometimes people are jealous for no reason. They just can't handle things. I've
one
been
of
in
my-
plays with people whose wives don't like me
Oh, why?
because maybe I had to kiss them on stage or something. Or we were just
Fantastic.
hanging out,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've always wondered about the kissing on stage. Is there a lot of practicing that goes on leading up to that? Or do
No.
you just kind of wing it?
You don't practice. You'd practice at practice, but you're not going to be like, let's get together before practice and practice.
No,
Well,
but I think
that's-
Kenny's
that's my
question is,
question.
what does the practicing look like, though, at practice?
You want to do it before you actually get on stage to perform. You wouldn't want anything because you need it to become something that isn't weird. Because if you just do it for the first time when you're in front of an audience, your mind will go in all different kinds of places, even if it's gross. And
Right.
then you're like, I don't know my lines,
Is there, what about the tongue? Where's that
Oh,
figure in?
no, you don't do that. And one guy did that to me once because he was mad at me, and he did it on stage during the performance.
Oh. Did you
How'd that
slap
go?
him?
So mad. Huh?
Did you slap him?
No, but I bit his lip. He was such a jerk. And you know why? He was mad at me because he didn't know his lines. And like the dress rehearsal before, I was like, you need to learn your lines. You're making everybody, I know the whole play so that if you get lost, I can get us back on track, and that isn't fair. So when are you going to learn him, dude? Not happy. And then so the next night he shoved his tongue down my throat.
And so you bit his lip.
Yeah.
Are you mic'd up on stage?
Not usually. It depends on what kind of, how big the theater is. Most of the time, no. You're having to project.
I asked that because I've always wondered.
In musicals, yes.
And I watch, whenever I watch wrestling, grappling,
Yeah.
I always try to see if they're talking to each other while they're beating the hell out of each other, whispering cues like next do this, next do that. Does that ever go on stage? Just some really silent, quiet communication? You know what I mean? Right in front of the audience?
Especially if you're not talking at the time and other people are talking.
And you can just quietly say something?
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times. Like somebody was supposed to be entering the stage and he's not coming out, and you're like, where the hell is he?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, you better say something,
What about farting?
farting.
Yeah.
Has
anybody ever dropped
this interesting?
Silent but deadly, and then everybody wants to crack up, but you got to keep a straight face?
I don't recall that, but but yeah.
With my work wife, she loved complaining about the old man. She called him the old man, her husband. And every time she would complain about him, I would end up taking his side, and he just seemed like he was really awesome, and I always wanted, I always wanted to hang out with him. So her venting to me about him never really worked out because I virtually 100% of the time took his side. You know, he doesn't want to go out and do this, or he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to sit and watch TV, or he wants to work on his crap in his shop. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it is, and he's right.
Oh man. So did she, whenever you vented to her, did she agree with you?
No, virtually never.
Oh, great.
No, she always no, because you know what? My complaining is all just insanity.
Oh,
you know, it's not real. So she always put me in my place. Well, now I guess I see why nobody wanted to tweet and call and be on the air with us to talk about work wives.
Well, they probably don't want their significant other to see them tweeting about their work wife.
Yeah.
They might go, what are you doing? What is
There
this?
might be some jealousy there.
Maybe they have a work wife and don't tell their wife that they have a good friend at work.
You know what? I bet the jealousy factor figures in before a certain amount of time has elapsed in your marriage, like maybe the first 5. When do guys go from being jealous to semi-jealous to just not even giving a damn? By year 10, right? By year 10 of a marriage, guys just don't care anymore. You do what you want. Yeah.
But I wouldn't. My wife has no idea. She'd be surprised that I said I had a work wife. So she never really knew. So there's no jealousy involved. I mean, I didn't come home and say, "Hey, you know what so-and-so said today," or whatever. It's
probably not a good idea to call them your work wife to your actual wife.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you call him? My special friend?
No, don't say that.
I don't know that I would have. She
pal?
knows who she is, and that I worked with her, and actually, we see her on occasion out at the state fair or whatever, and she just knows I worked with her. That's it. And she doesn't listen to the show, so she'll never know what I'm talking about.
I love it when people don't listen.
Yeah.
You can isolate that too.
I don't think my wife has ever heard me on a podcast.
Yeah. It's great when your family or friends don't listen.
That's the perfect life right there.
But my mom listens all the time. But I don't really think about that. If I did, I wouldn't be saying half of this stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
and she knows. She's like, she doesn't care.
Yeah, Kenny basically walked us through all of his past work relationships right there.
Right.
And the only thing I could think about, and we talked about it kind of in that segment, is work spouses do kind of take on the real form of a work spouse where they almost become more therapeutic than anything because they listen to you. You know, your work spouse or friend.
Oh,
do you ever
sure.
go to them with great news about work? You always go to them with the things you're angry or upset about, right?
True. You come home and you go, well, listen to this. Are you talking about I don't have a spouse at all, so
I just mean your work spouse, right? Whenever you go talk to whoever your best friend at work is, or whoever your work spouse would be, you so seldomly talk to them about all the good things that are happening. You typically always just complain to them, or you know what? Maybe that's just me. Maybe other work spouses you have more healthier relationships.
I think you have an honest
do.
relationship with that person, so it would probably be more on the complaining side because you can't just go in and complain, all the time to everyone. Then you're not a team player, or you're just actually really crabby. Basically how Kenny acts all the time.
I think what I love about what you just did right there is you kind of went into work spouse for me by basically telling me, oh, Ross, you can't complain all the time. Nobody wants to hear about that. You need to be more of a team player.
Ross is the most cheerful person in the office. He brings everybody's day up, and he makes everyone's day brighter. For sure.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say.
It's true.
And in just moments, we'll actually finish with Well, Kenny sets it up as women buying cars to overcompensate for something, if you remember.
Oh, that's right. He tricked us. He did a switcheroo.
Yeah, he was doing the old switcheroo, which, by the way, who do you think's buried in the grave of the gentleman or gal who created the switcheroo?
Oh, my gosh.
Who's actually buried there?
I don't even know what the switcheroo?
You know, they always say the old switcheroo, you think it's one and it's the other.
Yeah.
Well, somebody invented the switcheroo. What I'm proposing is the person who invented the switcheroo
is not in the grave.
They actually buried in their own grave.
So we might not get to a lot of stories, but I'm really glad we have the time to get to this one. Headline, Women Buy Sports Cars to Make Up for a Small Tamale.
What?
New research has revealed that women who are interested in flashy motors are trying to make up for having a tiny giner.
Tiny giner.
Professor Daniel Richardson claims that his study is the first to show that there is truth in the phenomenon of genital inadequacy.
What? Who wants a big giant? Who wants a big one? Nobody.
In this study, he convinced half of 200 women between the ages of 18 and 74 that the average size was 7.9 inches. A lie to make them feel inadequate, as the average length is only 5.17 inches.
Oh, my God.
The rest were told that the average length was 4.7 to make them feel confident about their area.
Oh, my God.
The women were then shown images of luxury items such as high-end sports cars, and those feeling under perfect ranked fast motors as more desirable.
This is the weirdest study ever.
The professor,
like, hey, we're going to talk to you about the length of the inside of your vagina.
God's pocket.
Yeah,
as
God's
somebody
pocket.
once said.
Professor finally, at the very end here, we increased our participants' desires for sports cars when we made them feel like they had a relatively small flower.
Oh, my Lord. How do they know?
Is this the most absurd thing you've ever heard in your life?
It's close.
What if I had changed all the men references to women references, and instead of saying penis, I said tamale, or giner, or flower? My point is, this BS about men who have small penises.
Oh, so you changed it.
Only drive and love fast cars and sports cars is the biggest crock of BS in the world.
Okay.
I always thought it was guys that drive big cars.
Just here, I'm still stuck on thinking, how did they measure the inside of their giner?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And it's absurd.
Yeah.
Talking about this, so is it too big or is it too small? Is it a 2-car garage? What do we got going?
2-car garage.
Got a Cloverly? What's going on here?
There's a patch of lucky clovers outside.
But any man who has a small one, Ross, we're excluding you from
if
this
I had
one.
the money, I would totally buy a huge truck.
I know guys.
Me too.
From a very early age, before you even knew what that thing down there was for, were obsessing about getting sports cars. Little kids. It happens in middle age because that's when men are finally financially secure and they can afford it.
Totally.
And if that's the analogy with sports cars, John made it. It say the same thing with big trucks. Well, now we can move on to, big tractors, big combines, big airplanes. Is it everything penis related?
That's a good question.
There's
I hope not.
There's a stand-up special on Netflix that I just watched over the weekend, and the comedian actually broaches this topic.
Yeah.
And he says, basically, ladies, no, we're dumb. From a young age, we're trained, truck.
Yeah, car,
exactly.
You're given toy cars.
Yeah.
You guys want them from the time that you're little kids, and then you finally, you're right, Kenny,
Right.
you get enough money to where you're like, I can finally buy that car I've always wanted.
Right.
So what's the big deal? I think we get mad if they're zooming around us and being asshats.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right,
And so
right.
you're like, small penis. You know what I mean? You just want to throw an insult out, that hits to the core. Yeah.
Is there a female equivalent to how men lust after automobiles? What would the women?
God, I am not a good representative
why
for
couldn't
women.
it be cars? But it's probably not.
I don't know what the thing is.
I know a fair amount of women who take cars very seriously.
Yeah,
what they drive, how it looks, it's got to be clean.
Yeah, I run mine into the side of the garage every other week. I did that this morning, just trying to avoid a car that's parked in our driveway. It happens to be my boyfriend's son's car, and our entire driveway is a sheet of ice, like thick ice.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
and so I'm trying to angle my car out, and I take off half the. There's a chunk missing from the side of the garage. It's like the side of the seal, and then
That
some
seals
stupid
up
plywood.
it seals
crap.
up against the door. It's not stupid plywood crap. It's part of the building.
Yeah, I know, but
it's needed.
not a good construction.
So you're now blaming.
Either way, I didn't even look at my car. I just heard it crunch. I got out. I was going to go in and say something to MC, and he already opened the door, because he works from
So
home,
he
and
heard it.
he goes, "That didn't sound good." And I go, "I really did it this time," which is our new favorite phrase, because that's what Jeffrey Dahmer said to his dad when he got caught and he was in jail about it. Yeah, he goes, "Well, I really did it this time."
Well, I guess so, son.
So that's our new favorite phrase.
Dawn,
I'm glad.
go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
John.
Ross. I'm
No, you
glad
go
you
ahead.
told. I want to take a shot at Ross here. I'm glad you told that story again because I only heard bits and pieces of it before when Ross was screwing around with all the equipment trying to get us to get on.
Well,
the air.
I need to remind you also that I also ripped my mirror off on the same side of the garage and scraped against the dolly that was sitting there that was put back in the wrong place. I ripped my mirror off also.
So you kind of have to come in there. It's an obstacle course to get into the garage.
Kind of to angle myself in, because my boyfriend has a Toyota Tacoma.
Okay. Right.
It's not a huge truck. I just want to make that clear. It's like, it's
perfectly adequate truck.
Yeah, it's totally fine. It's not one of those monster trucks.
It does the trick.
Okay,
Does the trick.
absolutely.
Really, really nice truck.
Yeah, it's a nice truck. It is. It's black. It has black wheels. He loves it. But anyway, so that's it. That's all I got to say about that. What do we have another story that we can do in 4 minutes?
Is there any way we can reconfigure the way you guys park? Can he park over on this side and you move over to here, and then the kid parks back over here?
Does the kid just need to bubble wrap his car every night, before he goes inside?
MC is also almost hit. Like, he's been sliding in his truck, 4-wheel drive, down the driveway, almost into his son's car.
I had a family member back into my car in the driveway and do fairly significant damage. So it does happen.
It does happen.
Feel a little bit better about that.
The last place I live, I did that twice within 2 weeks to my boyfriend's car. I forgot it was there, and I get up early in the morning. This is back home.
Yeah.
And I just reversed and just backed into his new car. He got it fixed, and I did it again after he got it fixed, like within 3 weeks.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I did the same thing to my father's car years ago, and my dad takes his car super seriously.
Yeah.
And my dad's the greatest guy. He was angry. And then he just went, it's just a car.
Yeah.
Great father.
McLean, you're a menace.
Well, I've never done this. I want to say I've driven large vehicles, as you guys have probably heard me talk about on the show.
Right.
A big tractor trailer and, like a 40-foot Winnebago, things like that. I've never, ever had any accident or any type of...
Why can't you drive this little snot-powered little
It's like
thing?
a go-kart to me.
Yeah,
What
it
the
is.
hell?
It's tiny.
I mean, it's a Honda Element. So
Are you
it's
using
sort of
the mirrors? Are you using all the mirrors to their fullest effect?
I am, but in the dark garage, when I'm trying to pull out of the garage, you can't see up against, I tried to cut it too soon because I was too paranoid about hitting his car, the son's car.
I've got a great idea. Back it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
As to why you don't have accidents in the other vehicles, I go through the same thing driving other people's vehicles, right?
Yeah.
When you're in your own car, it's kind of more of the comfort factor. You do let your guard down a little bit. You shouldn't, but I think it's human nature. You can't help but, just be a little bit more lax. When you're in like a company vehicle or a rented vehicle, you're driving that thing like it's a $1 million car and you don't want any issues with it.
I've never wrecked a station vehicle either. No.
What's your dream car?
Ooh, 69 GTO Judge.
Nice.
Wow. That's a damn good answer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
John, let me guess what your dream car is. Whatever piece of crap you're driving right now is your dream car, right?
No, if I were rich, first I'd have to, and it's such a cliche, but I'd have to get a '57 Chevy just because I love the way they look.
Yeah, that's a cliche.
Yeah, that's a cliche. And then another cliche, I'd run an XJE, a Jaguar.
Oh, my mom
the new ones,
had
I
one
hate
of
the
those.
new ones.
Yeah.
Hate the new ones, but the old ones, man, I love the looks of them.
Ross's dream car is anything that runs.
Yeah, I was literally going to make that same joke. My dream car is the next car that I can afford, whatever it is.
Just like your dream girl. It's the next one you can afford.
The next one I can afford. Preferably something with four wheels. I'm talking about the car, not the gal. And maybe a little bit more off the ground.
Anything else to add there?
No. The girl just needs to be somewhere between 18 and breathing.
18 and breathing,
okay.
man.
So I will say Dawn has talked about in that segment. I vehemently disagree with the premise. I don't care what the science or the study says. I think to a certain degree, growing up, everybody is pre-exposed or disposed to things that as they get older, it's going to make you want to buy it or have it.
True.
Again, I remember being a kid. Everything I ever wanted as I grew up almost always was related to something I had as a child. So I don't think men, and it was covered in that segment, I don't think most men are buying really nice cars to overcompensate. I think most men are saying, boy, I'm 55 years old and finally have some disposable income.
Right.
So I'm going to go buy this massive truck I've always wanted.
I agree. I don't even know what I said in the clip, but I agree with you, like what you just said right now.
Would you say those three things qualify as best of material, moderately best of, or why the heck did you pick those three?
I think they qualify. Because some things that we don't think are funny, people think are funny. So I'm not a good judge of what's good and bad.
Well, thank you for helping me out with this edition of News from the Crabby Coffee Shop. We're back next week, or as Kenny would say, maybe we won't be.